Good morning, everyone. It's good to be with you people again. I'd like to say a little bit about God's will. We throw it around like we know what we're saying all the time, but there's still a lot of confusion. God's will for us means listening to God in our lives, listening to the scriptures, distinguishing between good and evil, doing what is right, and avoiding evil. But a lot of times when it comes into God's will, we realize there's so many good things that we need to do. But a lot of times it's not clear what we're supposed to do, where we're supposed to go with a job, who we're supposed to marry, a lot of different things in life. And we have to work with that and pray often to help us to make the right decision. So there's a lot involved in something, in making good decisions and knowing what God wants us to do. Sometimes the problem comes between, well, how does God allow some of these bad things that happen in the world today? And there's a lot of confusion with that. And I think the simplest and the best explanation is always the fact that God wills good and he allows evil. And I think the thing that helps us with all of that is that we have to realize God gave us a free will. And in the free will, we make decisions and choices, some good and some bad. And the bad ones have all sorts of consequences for ourselves and for others. So God allows these bad decisions to happen, or people do things that are evil and wrong. And our consolation is always that out of evil, God brings good. And a lot of times we don't always see the good right away, but it eventually happens. I know in my work in counseling, you listen to so many people that bad things have happened to them. And soon after, and sometimes only years later, even though nobody agrees to the evil that had happened, but good things do happen. And people resolve life issues. Sometimes an example of a husband who loses a wife in a serious car accident and has a difficult time adjusting with the children, going through depression, not sure what he's going to do. In 2, 3, 4 years, maybe he is able to kind of resolve things and meets a woman and has a good life after that. And even though we don't agree on the fact that she died and the way she died, God always is working and bringing people into new parts of life. We need a lot of faith with that because we have to go through some very, very difficult times and all of that. A lot of times people with faith grow deeper in faith, and sometimes people lose their faith or drift away from God because they're angry about what happened, and therefore they drift away from God. They see God punishing them, or they feel, I never did anything wrong, I didn't deserve this. These are the things that really confuse a lot of times with people. That's why it's important to realize God created us, he gave us free will. We make choices. We make good ones and we make bad ones. God wants us to do good, but sometimes we fail, and in that failing, evil things happen. But I think it's also realizing our faith tells us that in God's way, God will always bring good out of that. We might not see it right away. We might see it down the line. But this is our faith in God. And even though we go through a difficult time or even a struggle with our faith in God like that, in the end, God will bring good to us and in our lives.